Welcome to This Week There's a Book in My Nook, and the book I'm going to talk about today is Kiss of Broken Glass by Madeline Kudrick, and she was one of the authors that was at the conference that me and Karen went to a couple weekends ago. We kind of took a break for a week. We had to recuperate from our wild time in Naperville, I guess. There was a lot of authors there. It was crazy. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes.
It was crazily packed. There was like 45 authors, something like that. It was a lot. But this is one of the books that she talked about, and I really like this book. This book is actually written in verse.
Well, it's her only book, isn't it?
It might be her
I
only
think
book. It might be her first book.
one,
Yeah. This is written in verse. I'm not a big fan of verse, but it really works for this book. And the reason that I think it works is the whole book takes place over 72 hours.
What does verse mean? Because when you say verse, and I know I asked you this at the conference, when people say verse, I'm thinking like poetry.
Well, it's written, can you see? It's written like poetry, but it doesn't rhyme. And what I mean by that is it's written in like little tiny short entries. Like if you would write in a diary, or almost like if you were some sort of journal diary, that's what it reminds me of. And that's see how it doesn't fill the whole page?
Right.
And there's big gaps between, and it's different. Sometimes it'll be just a tiny bit because it's like entries.
Okay.
And it works because this whole book takes place in 72 hours. And this is about Kenna, and Kenna is at high school, and she's in the bathroom, and she's cutting herself, and she gets caught. So she gets sent to
Who catches her?
Another student rats her out to one of the teachers.
Okay.
So they take her away, and she basically goes to the hospital, and then they send her for 72 hours to like an observation mental facility. And they're going to evaluate her and see, does she need further help, that sort of thing in these 72 hours. She thinks she doesn't have a problem. Kenna doesn't understand the big deal because everybody that she hangs around with, all the girls in this school are cutting themselves. And they're actually called the Kiss of Broken Glass Sisters. They even have a name for themselves. Kind of scary. And it's like a competition to them. Who makes the biggest cuts and most creative. It's really bizarre in my opinion. But I've heard that cutting is beginning to be more and more prevalent in schools and with girls. So I guess this is she's 15, and this is about the people that she meets when she's at this rehab. There's Danya. Danya has tried to commit suicide, and this is her 5th time that she's been there. She's kind of like the proverbial wild child. You find out half of Danya's problems is that Danya likes girls, and her parents are not going to take her. They're not going to go along with that. So she got caught with a girl. Her parents basically have disowned her, don't want anything to do with her, and so that's why she's been trying to commit suicide, is that basically she's having to try and be somebody that she's not, and it's just tearing her apart. And that's Danya's story. And Danya's actually Kenna's roommate while she's there. There's a boy his name is Jag. He's there. She's really kind of attracted to him. He seems very nice. You find out that he's got cigarette burns and scars all over his back. He's there for beating up his stepfather. And you find out that the reason he was doing that is he's been abusing Jag and Jag's mom. But Jag doesn't want to say anything and get his mom into trouble, so he's taking basically all the blame for being supposedly violent towards his father figure. And then there's Skylar, and Skylar has multiple problems. She's got an eating disorder, so she's very little and tiny. They say she's like bird-like, and she also cuts herself also. So she has both of these problems. And it's about the sort of relationship she forms just in 72 hours with these other characters, and how it kind of makes her realize, she does have a problem, and the reason that she's cutting herself, you kind of find out, is she has a half-sister named Avery. Avery's dad was like this prodigy at med school, and he died suddenly at a young age, and her mom never really got over him. She married Kenna's dad, had Kenna and Sean, but Kenna feels like her dad's always been the backup, that her sister's the shining star, that her mom terribly misses the first husband and just kind of married her dad to have somebody. They don't get along real well. She kind of walks all over him, and there's some resentment from Kenna, and she feels like she's not wanted. So plays a big part in this cutting. Also, she did it because it was popular thing to do at school. And this main girl, her name is Rennie. She, kind of like runs this whole sisterhood and, kind of pushes her and got her into cutting. So you have to read the book to find out what happens to all these different characters and what happens to Kenna and what she comes to the realization of. I thought it was wonderfully written. I love that like I said, that it's written like journal entries and it makes sense for it being 72 hours. So I would recommend this one for sure. And it's in that we do have in the young adult department. And if you like these kind of books, another one that we have is Winter Girls. Winter Girls is by Lori Halse Anderson. She wrote Speak. I think we've talked about that before, which is about date rape. She writes a lot of controversial books. This is about two girls that have an eating disorder, and basically they have a competition to see who can get skinniest. And one of them ends up dying because of this. And Leah is one of the girls. The other girl is Cassie. Cassie dies. Leah then has to decide what she's going to do with her life and can she get better from this eating disorder. A lot of great reviews on this book. Another one is, let me find it, Don't Touch. This is brand new. We have ordered it, but it hasn't come in yet. And this is about Caddy. And Caddy, this is a weird concept. Her father leaves her family, and she gets this idea in her head that if she can not touch anybody, not get close to anybody, but I mean literally not have anyone touch her skin, that it's going to bring her dad back. Like if she can have the willpower to do this, the longer she can do it and stay to herself, that it's going to somehow bring her dad back. It's like this inner game she's playing. So she covers up all of her skin. Like she wears long gloves and everything. At first, because she goes to this new school and she's in the theater group, at first her friends think, oh, it's just quirky. Then they start realizing there's more going on here. I mean, this is really messed up what she's doing. It's just a way of isolating herself more and keeping other people out and her in. So it's kind of also about problems and ways that we deal with it. And this is by Rachel Wilson. And off to you.
That one, Don't, or Kiss a Broken Glass, reminds me of those journal entries, reminds me of that book, Get Well Soon. That's what she does.
Is that what she does too, Julie?
Well, she doesn't actually do a diary. She sends these letters to her friend. Well, she writes these letters to her friend, but she doesn't send them.
Okay.
And it's her way of journaling through these letters, but she never sends them. And then there's another book in that series after it that, what is it called?
I can't
Get
think
Well
of,
Soon, and then...
I can picture it's a blue cover.
Yes, it is.
But I can't think of what, Smile some? No? I can't think of it, but I can picture it.
Anyway, she later tells the friend all the stuff that she had written in the letters that she never sent to her. But anyway, it's just reminding me of that book. The book that I did, keeping in theme with October, Halloween. And so I thought, well, I will read, because I feel that I am lacking in the classics.
She is.
And I don't know how I escaped it, but somehow I am missing the classics. So I decided to read, if I'm going to read Halloween, I might as well read Frankenstein, the classic. And this is in the adult section. This is by Mary Shelley, because everybody told me if I'm going to read it, that she's the one that wrote the classic.
Yes.
So, and we also have it in the juvenile department also, which I had checked out this juvenile one because I thought if I didn't understand this, because it's written in Old English.
It is, yes.
Yes. And so after about 5 chapters, I could interpret it.
It takes a little bit if you haven't read books in Old English before. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so I had checked out that one just as an interpreter in case I wasn't able to figure this out. But it did eventually make sense. But what it is, it's about Victor Frankenstein. And he loses his mother to death. And he decides, he's always been, what do I want to say, fascinated with how life begins, how life is created. And when he loses his mom, he decides, you know what? I want to create life. I want to find a way that I can have that feeling of bringing something to life. So he sets out and he isolates himself on this island and he sets out to do that. Well, he makes his creation, and when he puts that spark into the creation, he's absolutely horrified by what he has made. And the monster is just doesn't really know. He calls him a demon or a monster. The monster just really, once he comes to life, he doesn't really know what to do. He doesn't know anything about life. He doesn't know anything about his surroundings. He just doesn't know anything. And so, of course, when Victor is horrified by his looks, the monster just runs away. And so Victor's like, oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I done? Well, Victor returns back to his life that he had before he started this creation. And the monster just goes out into the woods, and all of a sudden he starts having these feelings of hunger, but he doesn't really know what hunger is. And so he just like picks some berries and just starts eating stuff and realizes, okay, I've gotten rid of this pain of hunger. Well, as he's in the woods, a boy and a girl, well, actually a boy comes upon him. And of course, the boy is horrified by what he sees. And I can't remember if the boy falls and dies, or if while the boy is running away, he does fall. And if he's like in between death or something, and the monster decides to end his pain, I can't really remember. But the boy ends up dying. And it was Victor's brother that ended up dying. Well, Victor finds out that it's attributed back to the monster. Well, after the monster realizes that people are horrified by his looks, because he isn't able to see his looks until one day he looks into a stream.
Right.
And he sees why everybody is just horrified. Well, he comes upon this like shed that he lives in that's hooked to this cottage. And in this shed, there's a little peephole that he's able to look into the cottage. And it's a family of a father and two children. And the father is blind, and it's a boy and girl. And he's able to learn the aspects of life, words, how to communicate. He just learns what living is all about. And one day he decides, you know what? I'm going to take this chance, because the father is blind. Yeah, the father is blind. And so he feels, you know what? This father can't see me. I'll wait till the children are gone, and I will go in and I will present myself to this father, knowing that he can't see me. And then if he gets to know me, then he'll find out what a good character I am. If the children happen to come back, then they'll see how wonderful. Yes, he will be able to explain that. Don't judge him by his looks, judge him by his character, and blah, blah, blah. Well, before he can actually get to that point, the children return. And the children are absolutely horrified that their father is with this monster. And once again, he takes off running into the woods, the monster does. And by the time he returns, he finds out that the family has packed up and left. And so now the monster is like, okay, the monster comes to the realization, I am never going to be accepted by humans. So he seeks out Victor, and he says, I want you to create me a companion, somebody that I can commiserate with, somebody that will be like me, that I can experience love and companionship and just live my life. We will go to the uttermost parts of the world where nobody will ever see us, and we'll just live out our lives. And Victor's like, absolutely not. Because of being this monster and people not accepting him, he's afraid if he builds another monster that both of them together will not be contained with just living by themselves on some remote spot in the world, and that they will want to reproduce, and then you'll have a whole continent of monsters. So Victor says no. The monster says, if you don't, then I will seek out everything you love and destroy it, because you are not giving me what I want. Therefore, I'm not going to let you have what you enjoy. This. Yeah, exactly. So Victor does give in, and he starts creating the monster. Well, halfway through, right before he's ready to give it the spark, he's like, no, I'm not doing this. His conscience gets the better of him. He destroys the monster that he has created. And the monster has been watching him build this other human, or this other monster, basically. And when he sees Victor destroy it, he's done. Mm-hmm. So then he seeks out revenge on Victor. And you will have to read the rest of the story to find out whether the monster is successful or whether Victor can get to the monster before the monster can destroy everything Victor loves.
What did you think of the book?
I liked it.
It's very tragic.
It's very tragic.
It is very sad.
And
the lines are very blurred.
The
I
lines
think
are very blurred.
As to who's good and who's bad, there is no cut and dry.
Correct.
And I think
Correct. And the thing is, it makes me think of when you think of what we as humans are doing when like. And I'm probably get some flack about this and all this other stuff, but there's people out there that are trying to recreate life.
Sure.
Through test tube babies, through cloning, through all this stuff. And it makes you wonder, when we create stuff like this, we are responsible for it. And you have to really take into the ramifications of what you're doing, the consequences of creating things like this, because you don't know what you're going to get. There's a lot of man-made stuff that has proven years later it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're cloning dogs, and you can pay so much right now to get.
Well, there was those sheep that they successfully cloned.
Yeah, it was Dolly. Well, they're successfully cloning dogs, and you can pay right now to have your pet cloned so that when it passes on. But my whole thing is that's very confusing and a little bit for me, because I'm thinking, okay, say you clone your dog, does it think exactly like that dog? I mean,
well, that's it. There's got to be something when you start messing around. I think with nature. You don't know what you're going to get because it's man-made. And in my regards, isn't that the whole point? Who wants an exact replica of their dog?
Because that's people that can't let go. And it is hard letting go. Don't let me, I'm sure that's what that is.
But things can't live forever. And that's the whole thing. We evolve and we change. The kind of dog that we needed when we were 12 may not necessarily be the same dog that we need when we're in our 30s or 40s, I mean.
But I mean, this book was written, I'm not for sure.
17, she wrote it when she was 18 years old as entering a ghost contest. And she was born in 1797, so whatever 18 is, that's when she.
And I mean, it's still, to me, it's still relevant today.
Yes.
I mean, about the same topics.
Yes.
Now, one of the authors that we talked to, didn't she write a book about Mary Shelley?
It's called
something Beauty or
Horrid Love or something,
like
Horrendous
and
Love
did you buy
or something.
That?
Yes, I did. I did buy it.
Yeah,
because
let us know.
It has to do with the story of Frankenstein.
She has a very tragic life herself, so
yes,
you'll have to read that and let us know how that goes.
Yes, I will. But I've always been fascinated with those kinds of books. I think, to me, Frankenstein is really the classic horror. Even though it's not really horror in the sense that it scares you. It's horror in the fact that somebody has created this thing that has now been out amongst the living. Yes. Right. And really does not know how to live because he's never been taught.
Right.
Except from what he's observed through other people.
And there's been so many takes on the Frankenstein. The movies and other books. And there's actually a young adult book, I think I've reviewed it before, called This Dark Endeavor. And it's about Victor Frankenstein when he's a teen and how he becomes fascinated with death at an early age.
Yeah, I mean, he is actually, with the death of his mother, he is so fascinated with.
And see, in the young adult book, it's not the death of his mother.
Oh.
It's the death of his twin brother.
Oh.
They change it up
in the classic, he doesn't have any twins.
Yeah.
But then, later on, like I told you, the monster goes to seek revenge. Well, one of the things when Victor dismantles what was going to be the monster's bride, the monster says to him, "I will visit you on your wedding night." Mm-hmm. And so, you'll have to read it because it's really, like you said, it's sad, it's tragic, it's very, and till Victor's dying day, he's seeking out the monster is seeking out him, and it is. I mean, it's very tragic. Yeah.
Very dark. Very good.
I think that's what the horror of it is.
Yes,
is that it's so tragic.
It sticks with you. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. And that's what I mean. I think that's the ultimate classic because I won't read Dracula and all those other.
Oh, Dracula's very good. Bram Stoker is very good.
Is it?
It is very good. Yes.
Then I might have to read that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to me, the classic is Frankenstein when I think of it because I don't think there's an adult version of Dracula. Is it?
Bram Stoker.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, because I know we have it in the juvenile department too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the book that I did for the children's department, or no, you go on, don't you?
No, go ahead. You can do this one, and then I'll.
Is Too Many Pumpkins, which is a very, very, very cute book. The lady's name is Rebecca Estelle, and when she was poor, for about a month, her family could not afford anything but they had a lot of pumpkins. And so they ate pumpkin everything. Fried pumpkin, smashed pumpkin, pumpkin this, pumpkin that. Everything was pumpkin. So Rebecca vowed when she got older, she was never, ever, ever going to have anything to do with pumpkins again. So when she's planting her garden in the spring, that's when she decides I'm not, she plants everything but pumpkins. Well, come fall, when she's raking the leaves in her yard, a pumpkin truck happens to go by, and one pumpkin rolls off the truck and smashes into her yard. And Rebecca's like, whoa, whoa, come back, come get this pumpkin, because I don't want anything pumpkin even near my house. Well, of course, the truck drives off. So she figures, well, you know what, I'm just going to get a shovel and just bury it in dirt, and that way it will just,
die.
Nothing will ever happen. Yes. So she does that, and so then we go through all the seasons. Well, come spring, she goes out to plant her garden, and she notices her cat playing amongst all these vines and things. She's like, what is this? Well, the pumpkin survived, and the pumpkins have started growing now. So she digs up all the vines, and she says, no, there will be no pumpkins. And she makes the cat leave and everything. And she thinks she got it. A week later, more sprouts start coming. So she figures, you know what? This is in the front of my house. I'm not going to look out my front window. I'm not going to give it water. I'm not going to tend to it. I'm not going to weed it. I'm not going to do anything. And then they'll just shrivel up and die because I've ignored them, and they won't have any, reason to keep going, basically. Well, come fall, she goes out to rake her leaves, and there are just pumpkins all over the place. So now you'll have to read the book to find out what she's going to do with all those pumpkins. So cute.
That sounds cute.
So very cute.
Okay, my next book, totally different from the ones I'm talking about, is Anna and the French Kiss. Oh, picked up the wrong one. Sorry. Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. And she was...
you have done this.
I have not done this.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm never telling you about any books I read, because if I tell her about it, then she thinks I've done it for the blog.
I could have swore I've heard about this book, but anyway.
This is Anna and the French Kiss, and this is by Stephanie Perkins. And this is the story of Anna, and Anna is sent away.
Maybe it's because we went to the conference and they talked about it.
Could have been.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Okay.
Anna is sent away overseas by her father to go to college. And she's I guess it's not college. She's a senior, so it's boarding school over there. She doesn't know anybody. It was her senior year. She is not happy. Regardless whether it's Paris, she doesn't care. She doesn't want to be there. It's her senior year. So she has to make all new friends. And this is a really good romance. It's about how she becomes best friends with this guy. He's got a girlfriend. But over time, they both have feelings for each other. They don't really know how to deal with it. She ends up dating somebody else. There's a triangle and jealousy. It's super good. I really enjoyed it. I'm not a huge romance person, but this one got to me. It was really, really good. I kept wanting to read to find out what was going to happen. There was a lot of twists and turns in the relationship, and I really enjoyed it. So I definitely recommend this. It's in the young adult. And she's wrote 2 other books also. So if you like that one, she wrote Lola and the Boy Next Door. And it's not like a sequel, so you can read them independently. And this is about, I haven't read this one. I want to. I've read the other one. This is about Lola, and Lola is a designer. Everything is about fashion to her. And it's about her next door neighbor and how they used to be friends and they're not anymore, and how they reconnect, and it's another romance. So, and then she has a brand new one. There's been a lot of people really excited for this one to come out. Now, this one is a spin-off of the first one and the second one. So you don't have to read the other 2, but it's more fun if you do.
What are the first and second ones?
These 2. Anna and the French Kiss and Lola and the Boy Next Door. These 2 are not connected, but this one is a spin-off of the 2 of them combined. So what I mean by that is in Isla, it's the story of Isla. And Isla and the boy that she's interested in, which is Josh, are in the first book, Anna and the French Kiss. But then Lola and her boyfriend also have some parts in Isla also. So it's kind of like they have cameos. Do you know what I mean? So kind of fun. If you like those characters, you'll get to see them and learn a little bit more about them. But you don't have to have read the first 2 to read this third one. So 3 different romances.
Love.
Yeah. But I really do like her writing style. I think she is really good at writing romance.
Who is this? Oh.
It's all by Stephanie Perkins.
Yeah.
And we have this one on order. It hasn't come in yet. It was just released. So we should be getting it very soon. So those are my books.
Yeah, I don't really try to read too many love stories. They're not my thing.
Yeah, she's not into romance.
No, I'm not. Nope.
Her poor husband.
Well, when I went last night to see what movie was being rented the most, it happened to be Transformers: The Age of Extinction. I used to like Transformers. I went and watched the one Transformer movie back when my kids were younger, when Bumblebee
The
was.
first one, yeah.
Is that when Bumblebee was introduced?
I think with Shia LaBeouf was in it.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. But he's been in a lot of Transformer ones.
Just the first 2.
Just the first 2? Okay, then it must have been the second one that
Maybe
I've
it was
seen.
the second
Steve,
one. Oh.
could you come
We
to
have
the
an announcement.
circulation
Hold on a second.
desk, please? Thanks.
Anyway, and my son has grown up with Transformers. We have the Optimus Prime and all the major Transformers, should
Right.
I say. But anyway, this has to do with the fact that this kind of set into the future, where as to help us with our defense of the United States, we have allowed aliens to help us, which happens to be these Transformers. And I guess from watching the movie, there's good Transformers and there's bad Transformers. And Optimus Prime is the leader of the good ones, and they're called, I forget what they're called, something bots.
Autobots?
Autobots, maybe, is what they're called. Yeah, because they transform into automobiles of some sort. Because Optimus Prime is a truck. And
Right.
Bumblebee's like a yellow Corvette-looking like thing, and so on. And then there's the other ones that I think are called Trons.
Megatron.
Is like the bad one, is the very evil one. Well, anyway,
But isn't there a big dinosaur in this one too?
well, that's what it is. It starts out showing that these aliens, which they call the Transformers, have their plan was to. That's how the dinosaurs became extinct. Was that they came to our planet and they wiped out that so that they could have the planet Earth as their planet to start their own breed.
Okay.
Basically, is what they wanted to do with Earth. But somehow, when humans came, the humans did not accept the Transformers very well, and it is set that this war goes on in Chicago, where it depletes Chicago. Chicago is non-existent anymore.
You know, Chicago always gets depleted.
Yes, I
Have
know.
you noticed that?
Well, usually it's New York, but I think
New York and
because
Chicago are constantly being depleted in shows.
oh yeah, I think because of 9/11, they've switched now to
Maybe.
Chicago because of all the hard feelings
Right.
about 9/11 and stuff like that.
But Divergent was Chicago.
Yes.
There's been a lot
Yeah.
there lately, yeah.
And so anyway, these the good Transformers have basically gone into hiding, and our defense has now decided to. Well, there's always those bad guys in the CIA, and they've decided that they want to start their own army, built half human, half Transformer. So they are trying to find the seed that started all the Transformers back in
The day.
the day. Yeah, back when the world began. And so Optimus Prime and all the other good Transformers have basically gone into hiding because they are trying to find these good Transformers. There's only like 5 of them left after this war. And they want to take they're wanting to find Optimus Prime because of his intelligence, because he's
Right,
the leader
leader.
of the good bots. They want his intelligence. They want to get rid of Optimus Prime because as long as there's good bots around, you're never going to be able to take over completely because there's always good. If evil's to succeed, you have to get rid of all the good. Well, Mark Wahlberg is this little innocent inventor living on this farm in someplace in Texas.
This is the real reason that Karen watched this
Yes,
movie.
because of Mark Wahlberg. Yes, that is true. And Mark Wahlberg, like I said, he's an inventor. Well, he happens to go to some, I forget if it's a flea market of some sort, I can't remember, to get parts for this thing that he's inventing. And he recognizes Optimus Prime's truck. It's all dusty and really old looking, and you don't see like the blue and red that Optimus Prime is known for his colors. But Mark Wahlberg realizes that this is an old something bought or
Mhm.
whatever. And so he takes it to his garage. Well, he now is on the radar of these evil people that want Optimus Prime. So they come to his he restore let me back up a little bit. He restores Optimus Prime to at least a good condition that he's able to function. And the evil people have him on his radar that he has found Optimus Prime. They come to his farm, and Optimus Prime is hiding. But the people hold a gun to Mark Wahlberg's
How do you
daughter's
hide
head.
a semi?
Well, he goes underneath all this
Okay.
rubble, like
I'm just
in the
wondering.
floor or something. Yeah. He actually transformed. He's not a semi, but he transforms back to the robot and has
Okay.
buried himself like underneath all this
Okay.
flooring, like down in the earth. Well, when they hold a gun up to Mark Wahlberg's daughter saying, "Give us Optimus Prime," Mark Wahlberg says, "He's in my barn, he's in my barn." But like I said, they've been in the barn, but they can't find him. Well, Optimus Prime decides, "I'm going to reveal myself to save this daughter." And he reveals himself and basically wipes out those people that have come to the farm to get him. And now him and Mark Wahlberg and the daughter's boyfriend and a friend of Mark Wahlberg's are now on to find all the good bots to restore all the, what do I want to say?
Good powers.
To restore the earth back to normal, to get rid of all this evil. Let me tell you, people, it is a 2-hour and 45-minute movie. But I do have to say, there's only one little lull part, because I understand they kind of had to have a lull to kind of build up the suspense.
Right.
So if you can get past that little 5-minute lull, it keeps you going. It does keep you going, but it's a lot of repetition. It is a lot of, there's only so many times a Transformer can transform, and I think little kids would love it. If you're into Transformers, you're going to love it. As an adult, guys, maybe, yeah, because of all the electronics, and there's a lot of, what's that word I'm looking? Special effects,
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. But it's a very far-fetched idea, and it's very sad to think that our CIA has turned evil in the future, and that basically we as a humanity are basically at their mercy, and we are basically just existing, just basically eating and sleeping and really not doing anything. That these evil forces are the ones that are going to determine how we're going to live out the rest of our lives. So, but it like any young boys, I would say 10 to 12. I don't know if 10 to 12 is too old for Transformers.
Probably.
You think?
Maybe 10. I don't know about 12.
Yeah, maybe 10, 8 to 10.
8 to 10 is what
8
I
to
would
10,
say.
I think, would love this movie because it's not violent. There's not really, of course, the Transformers shoot and things like that, but you don't see death, you don't see blood, you don't see a lot of gore, because with the Transformers, they don't have blood and stuff like that. So, it's with all electronic things when they spark and things like that, they're dying, but yet
it's not really,
the Transformers always come back.
Yeah.
Yes, they never cease to exist, whereas some humans do. Anyway, and to keep up with our music, we have some newbies, thank goodness. Well, new ones, should I say. Pop and Top Radio Songs is All About That Bass by Meghan Trainor, and the name of the album is Tidal. And we don't have it here at the Danville Library, but it is in our system, and it can be requested, even though, let me tell you, they're all gone. They're all requested in the system.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, there's not that many. There's only like maybe 4, 5, but they're all out. Still bringing up the country is Jason Aldean with Burning It Down. And come to find out, it is in our system, but it's not under the album Burning It Down. It's under the album of Old Boots, New Dirt. So that song is on that album. We don't have it at this library, but like I said, it's in the system to be requested. And then we have a new hip-hop, which is Black Widow by Iggy Azalea featuring Rita Ora, and the album is The New Classic. And it's in our system, and it's on Hoopla. I do know that, but we don't have it here at the Danville Library. I do love Black Widow.
Both of these are great videos, too. I will say that. Meghan Trainor's and Iggy's, very entertaining videos. I think I showed you Meghan Trainor's video a long time ago. Me and my daughter had found it way before it was popular. I have had it as my ringtone for quite a while. Love it. It's very catchy. And I love the story. I don't know if you know the story behind this song that she wrote. She's been in the industry for a while as a songwriter. She just didn't sing her own songs. She sold them to other people. She wrote All About the Bass within 45 minutes, sitting on her bed in her pajamas, didn't like it, and threw it out. Her mom found it and convinced her to present it and said, I really think you should be the one that sings this, though. And that's how we got It's All About the Bass.
There is a lot of flack about it because of skinny bashing, because it
there's
it
always somebody unhappy.
Yes, it bashes skinny people.
You're either bashed because you're the wrong color, you're the wrong size. There's going to be something going on. So
there is a lot of flack about it. But my daughter can't stand the song. She makes me change it.
And I love
the radio every time it comes on, but I like it.
My husband especially finds it very entertaining, and he thinks she's very cute.
She is cute. Yes, she is.
Very kind of down. If you've seen her, she's been on all the evening or night talk shows. She seems very down to earth. Very
I've only seen her through the video.
And she's got a new song out too that I think we'll be seeing before much longer.
What do you think? What's the
name? It's either called "To My Future Wife" or "To My Future Husband." I can't remember. It's one or the other. It's very catchy, so I could see it being on the charts before too much longer. I don't think she's going to go away.
Yeah. Well, I had seen Black Widow, and I thought that it would be coming up soon. I'm just glad Anaconda's gone. And really, I'm really surprised Jason Aldean is still in country.
Time.
Because there's really a lot of new country songs out that I really, really like, and I'm really surprised Burning It Down.
I'm trying to think, who's the guy in the Black Widow video? He's a famous actor, and I can't think of who that is, that plays the bad guy.
Oh, the guy that comes to the diner?
Yeah, he's in a lot of mobster movies. Yeah. And I cannot think of his name.
I don't know his name.
Can't think of his name, but he's been in a lot of mobster movies.
I didn't even recognize him when I saw him in the video.
Oh, really? Yeah, I did instantly, said my husband,
Oh.
He's been in a lot of mobster stuff. And I think he was in Reservoir Dogs, if I'm right. But he's been in, in Reservoir Dogs, there's a song, Stuck in the Middle with You, where they're torturing this guy. He's the guy that's doing the torturing. I can't think of his name, though. But, he kind of plays the same character in this bad mobster kind of guy. So, yeah.
So, those are the songs.
Okay, so we will be seeing you next week with all new picks. Enjoy your books, music, and movies.